Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to Premium Aquatics. Luke and Avery here with the tank series. You can put your hand down. We are going to be looking at another Tunze item like I mentioned last week. The skimmer's still going. We're getting it dialed in, so we've got that to work on. But this week, we're going to look at that 6095. I want to replace out the Max Spec over here, and we're going to be putting this onto the tank. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. The 6095, that's what I'm putting on here. I'm excited for it. It's got a controller. I'm going to take out the Max Spec. Max Specs, the gyres are good. I like them. They're very popular. But they're a little larger profile than what I like. I think so far my favorite still is the Nero by far, mainly because that app makes it very nice and easy, and there's a lot of punch for a very small profile, where like the Max Spec has a much larger profile because, you know, it's taken up 3/4 inches of my viewing area there. So not that it's bad, but for me, I'm not as much of a fan. So let's open this up. Let's take a look at it. We'll go over the specs on it. Let's get in here. Alright, so the Tunze NanoStream 6095 circulation pump, wide flow with controller, like I mentioned. Let's go ahead and get into the pump. As we can see here, for aquariums 25 to 265 gallons, has a huge wide range of what this can handle. They say anywhere around 550 to 2500 gallons per hour is what this can do, 5 to 20 watts, and again, we are controllable with the little smart controller that it has. So let me open this up, take a look at it. Again, here's our quality control on who we need to get in trouble. Lots of manuals in different languages that I'm not familiar with. And then our pump, power supply. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. Obviously, if you're familiar with Tunze, you're familiar with the setup that it has. This baseball shaped power head. The motor is on the back. Our rotor and impeller in here. Water goes into the side like this, comes out the front in a very, very wide pattern. This front grate we can remove gently. We can remove this, gets us access to the impeller. We can also take off this front casing if we need to get further in, do better cleaning or anything like that. But very nice designs, very wide flow. We're going to get tons of expanse right out of the gun with this guy. And so then we have the C-clamp here, which is attached to the internal magnet. This is what's going to hold our pump, which this is really nice. You got to be careful. Obviously, this is, you know, fragile. You could break this very easy if you're not careful, but we'll just slide it in there. Holds the pump really nicely, and this gives us a huge range of motion as to where we want this pump directed. If I want it on the back wall and facing 90 degrees to the left or to the right, I can make that happen. If I want it pointing straight down, I can make it happen. You know, whatever you want to basically do with this, you can make it happen, which is really nice comparatively to some of the other pumps, like Ecotech, where you're stuck straight on, or the Nero, you have a little bit of range of motion, but not much. The Max Spec, same thing. You don't have a lot of range of motion, where this, you are free to do whatever you want. So that is really nice, and one of the reasons I actually really love Tunze. And then if we look at this C-clamp, there are these 4 rubber pads which help limit any vibrations going from the motor into the bracket, into the magnet, and then into your tank, which makes it very nice for making sure that we stay quiet and as quiet as possible. The magnet is very strong. This one goes up to 15 millimeters, which is like 0.59 inches. So very, very thick magnets there. Obviously be careful as always. We have a super long cord, which then leads to our controller. So we have our main power, pulse, which is the time that is pulsing, and then our pulse power. We have a feed timer we select from our different modes right here. If we are going into pulse, what we would do is we'd have our main power and our pulse power. The main power is going to be at the peak of the wave, and the pulse power is going to be at the low portion of the wave. And then obviously we have our time that we want to put in between. which that can be in the range of 2 to 10 seconds. So pretty cool. We'll play around with it, see what we get, and then obviously if we don't want it pulsing, we don't have to have it, and we can just do main power. But let's get this set up, get it going, and see what we got here. So this is our power supply port right there on the bottom. If we want to connect it to another controller, we can put it in here, or to another pump. We connect right there. So let's get this hooked up. Okay, so the unit is plugged in. Let's go over the controller as we can see it here. We've got the pump. Hopefully you can see along the top the flow that we're going to be getting, and you'll see the anemone move a little bit more, and then I'll try to keep the controller over here in focus so you can see what I'm talking about. Right now we are technically on just the standard flow setting. It's on pulse to the 10 seconds, but I have the pulse turned off all the way down. So now it's just, I can have it if I 100% if I want to, and it's going to kick out tons of flow, or I can turn that down all the way to 20% and do it like that. Or if I do want to pulse it between the 2 and 10 seconds, we can set our main larger pulse, we can set our lower pulse, and do what we want through here. You'll see the control knobs light up as it turns on. So now we're on high. Then as it turns off, we'll go down to low. This one's a little bit hard to see, but you can kind of see that. And then if we hit select again, it's going to go to auto adjust. And auto adjust, it's going to take this pulse time down from 2 to 10 seconds down to 0.3 to 2 seconds. And it's going to gradually increase. And basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the wave motion in the tank. And when we see that, we're going to hit select again to go to wave OK, and that's going to tell the system, hey, it's making a wave, keep the settings right where it's at. So if we go, normally we would turn this all the way up to 100, this all the way down to 0. We're going to hit select. It's going to go with auto adjust, and it's going to start going real fast back and forth. And it's eventually going to increase, and we're going to try and find the perfect time that this wave is created in the tank. And when we do see that wave, we'll hit select again. And as you can see, as you watch this blue dot, you'll see it takes longer and longer, stays on it longer, drops off longer. So it's increasing the time between the pulses here. So let's just say, for instance, I like it right here. I'm going to hit select. It's going to go to wave OK. That means I'm happy with the wave that I'm getting right now. If I want to make some small adjustments still, I can by adjusting this knob. If I want to make some slide, if it was at 0.6 and I hit it at 0.5, which there's no way for you to really tell that. But if you can say, oh, you look at it, you say, oh, it's just a little too much, you can turn that down and make fine-tune adjustments. But normally you'll hit that right when you see it. So that's basically what this does. And now it is set at whatever seconds that was between it. We could obviously time it and figure it out, but so it's going to stay at this until I decide to change it again. And obviously external control is if you have another controller or you're doing a slave or anything like that. And then obviously we have our food timer. If we set that, it's going to turn this pump off so we can feed. So really easy to set up. Pretty cool that it allows you to go through those motions to try and find the perfect wave setting for your system. I actually really like that and think it's really neat that they allow you to have that. So I'm going to play with this a little bit more, see if I can find the perfect wave for this, and really get this tank rocking as far as waves, because you can see the anemone back here is really starting to kind of go back and forth just a little bit. And obviously I have other pumps at play that are kind of hindering it, because I do have the sea swirl that is moving, and then I have the Nero that does its own wave action at a certain time. So I've got to, you know, work in tandem with those if I want to make the wave action. But I really love that feature, and as I mentioned many times, I love having this wave back and forth action in aquariums. So anemones, the Duncans, those things moving back and forth, I absolutely love. And once these GSPs really grow and take over, we're really going to see some amazing wave action. So this guy's kicking butt. He's pumping out already big amounts of flow. So it'll be fun to play around with this, see where I can get this tank as far as flow goes, and maybe create a nice wave. And we'll check it out. We'll give it some time and see what it does, and go from there. So here, I'm just going to show you here real quick. This is what I'm playing with it right now as my wave setting, and you can see here just the wave action we're getting across this line is actually really nice. Nothing huge, But I don't know if I really want anything large anyway, since I do have a rimless tank. I don't need any water catastrophe and waterfalls going on. Alright guys, that's it for us. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. I'll put a link in the description below for the Tunze 6095. Go check it out. See if it works for your system. There's a lot of range of flow. They have controllable, they have non-controllable, so there's a lot of options out there. Check them out. We love them. They've been great. The warranty is phenomenal. Their service is phenomenal, so I definitely recommend them. I think you'll be happy with them as well. So if you haven't already, hit the bell for notifications so you stay most up to date on this system as well as the other video we're putting out. We're going to go get some pizza. We'll see you next weekend. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
Peace.